Hi, my name is Basir. In this video, I'll teach you how to add two vectors, how to subtract two vectors, how to find length of a vector or the magnitude of a vector, and I'll also teach you how to find product of vectors. I'll teach you how to find the dot product, and I'll also teach you how to find out the cross product. And you'll be surprised to see how easy it is for us to understand these concepts. And you'll also be surprised to see the number of questions that you can attempt from your previous year question papers just by understanding these concepts. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Okay, let's start solving some questions here, and then as I keep solving questions from previous year question papers, we will learn how to add two vectors, how to subtract two vectors, how to find the length of a vector or magnitude of a vector, and how we find the product of vectors. Okay, let's learn all of these things as we keep solving questions from previous year question papers. Now this question was asked in intermediate first year Telangana State May 2019 question paper. In this question I see two vectors, vector A and vector B. We are supposed to find out the unit vector in the direction of A plus B. The unit vector in the direction of A plus B would be A plus B by modulus of A plus B. Let us first learn how to find out A plus B. It's pretty easy. A plus B. Now let me substitute what vector A is here. Vector A is I plus 2j plus 3k. Keep a plus sign here, and then vector B. Vector B is 3i plus j. It's pretty much the same thing that you do in algebra as well. You just need to add similar terms. In the same manner we add similar terms here. 3i plus I is 4i. Now 2j plus 1j would be 3j. And then this 3k, I see k is all by itself here. I don't see any other k here, so I'm going to write this 3k as it is. So that's about it. We found out A plus B. Now we are supposed to find out unit vector in the direction of A plus B. Unit vector in the direction of A plus B would be A plus B by modulus of A plus B. Let us find out what is modulus of A plus B. How do you find out modulus of A plus B? It's pretty easy. You have to write under root of square of this thing, and then square of this, and then square of this. That's about it. So modulus of A plus B is going to be square root of 4 square is 16, 3 square is 9, 3 square is 9, 16 plus 9, that gives us 25, 25 plus 9, that gives us 34. So now the unit vector in the direction of A plus B is going to be A plus B by modulus of A plus B. What is A plus B here? A plus B is 4i plus 3j plus 3k. 4i plus 3j plus 3k by modulus of A plus B is root 34. That's about it. This is the unit vector in the direction of A plus B. Okay, so in this question we are given two vectors here, and then we are supposed to find out the angle between the vectors. How do you find out the angle between the vectors? See, the angle between the vectors cos theta is A dot B by mod A into mod B. That's about it. So now you have to find out the dot product of these two vectors. Let us say this right here is vector A. Let us give it a name, and then let us give this vector a name, vector B. Let us say I have these two vectors, vector A and vector B, and I am supposed to find out the angle between the two vectors. How do you find out the angle between the two vectors? Pretty simple. We have a simple formula here. Cos theta is equal to A dot B by mod A into mod B. Let us first learn how to find out the dot product. Now, A dot B. A dot B. What is A here? Okay, it is I plus 2j plus 3k dot B. What is B here? 3i minus 2j plus 2k. Now what we really need to do here, how do we find out the dot product? Finding the dot product is pretty easy. Multiply the coefficient of I with the coefficient of I, coefficient of j with the coefficient of j here, and then the coefficient of k with the coefficient of k. Why do we do that? And then why we do that, let us also remember one thing. I dot I, j dot j and k dot k, they are 1. If you multiply I with j, or let us say j with a different vector k, or let us say k with a different unit vector I, then you are going to get 0. So we have to understand two things. If I multiply a unit vector with itself, I would always end up getting the dot product as 1. If we multiply one unit vector with another, you end up getting 0. And that's the reason we don't multiply I with j or k here, because obviously I, if it multiplies with j or k, obviously the dot product is going to be 0. And that's the reason I would suggest you to just remember this simple thing to find out the dot product. You multiply the vector I with I, the unit vector I with the unit vector I, the unit vector j with the unit vector j, and then the unit vector k with the unit vector k. That's about it. So let's do it. Now 1 into 3, that's what I'm going to do. And then keep a plus sign, j with j, which means 2 multiplies minus 2. So 2 multiplies minus 2. Keep a plus sign again. And then 3 multiplies 2. So the k unit vector, the coefficient of the k unit vector multiplies this coefficient of k unit vector. So 3 into 2. Let me rephrase this for you in a simple manner. Multiply I with I, j with j, and then k with k. You must be wondering, I dot I is 1, and that's the reason I'm not writing 1 here. J dot j, it obviously becomes 1. K dot k, that becomes 1. So that's how you do that's how you find out the dot product. Just the I with I, and then j with j, and then k with k. So a dot b is going to be 1 into 3 is 3, plus into minus is minus, 2 into 2 is 4, 3 into 2 is 6. So a dot b is going to be 6 plus 3 is 9, 9 minus 4, that gives us 5. So we found out a dot b. We found out the dot product. Let us now find out mod a and mod b. Let me first write what is the vector a here. The vector a is I plus 2j plus 3k. How do I find out mod a? Square root of, the coefficient here is 1, so 1 square, and the coefficient here is 2, so obviously 2 square, and then the coefficient here is 3, so 3 square. So this is going to be 1 plus 4 plus 9, which is 14. 9 plus 1 is 10, 10 plus 4 is 14. Let us also find out mod b. But before that, let me write what vector b is given to us. Vector b here is 3i minus 2j plus 2k. Now what would be mod b? Mod b is going to be square root of square of this plus square of this plus square of this thing. So mod b is going to be square root of 9 plus 4 plus 4. Obviously, if I square a negative number, it obviously becomes plus, because square of a negative number, it becomes positive number, right? Now, mod b is going to be square root of 9 plus 4 is 13, 13 plus 4 is 17. So mod b is 17. Now we are in a position to find out cos theta. Cos theta is a dot b by mod a mod b. And what is a dot b here? A dot b, we got it as 5. Now remember, a dot b, this is the dot product. This dot product, the dot product is also known as scalar product. Remember this. Dot product is also known as scalar product. And all that you do is you multiply I with I, j with j, and then k with k. That's about it. Because obviously if you multiply I with j or I with k, if you multiply two different vectors, two different unit vectors, you are anyways going to get 0 there. So you just multiply I with I, j with j, k with k. Now a dot b, I have written it as 5 by mod a. Mod a is root 14, and then mod b is root 17. Now we were supposed to find out the angle, right? So theta is going to be cos. If I transpose it from the left hand side to the right hand side, it becomes cos inverse 5 pi square root of 14 root 17. You actually can understand it in a slightly different manner. To get rid of the cos here and get the value of theta, you actually need to apply cos inverse on both sides. That's what it actually is. Now cos inverse and cos, they kind of cancel out each other, and then you would be left with theta is equal to cos inverse 5 pi square root of 14 square root of 17. That's the angle between the two vectors that were given to us. You can actually keep it this way, or you can multiply root 14 and root 17. You know that root a into root b is root a into b, right? And that's the reason I can keep here root 14 into 17, 14 into 17, which is 238. Okay, so again we have a question in which we have two vectors and we have to find out the angle between the vectors, and then we need to find out sine theta. This question was asked in intermediate first year Telangana State Mate 2019 question paper. Let us see how to find the angle between the vectors. We already know how to find out the angle between the vectors. We are going to proceed in the same manner. Let us give this vector a name. Let us say this is vector A, and let us give this guy also a name. Let us say this is vector B here. Now, let me write what is vector A. Vector A is I plus J. That's about it. It doesn't have a K. What would be the coefficient here? If it doesn't have a coefficient, you can write 1 here, you can write 1 here, and then I don't see a K here. So you can instead write 0K. So you are using 0 just as a placeholder, 0K. Obviously this would ideally mean I plus J itself. Vector B is given as J plus K. Obviously the coefficient is going to be 1 here, and then you don't have a I term here. So you can actually just write 0I. Since there is no I term, you are just writing 0I. 0I is nothing but 0 itself, so you would be left with J plus K itself. So we are using the 0 just as a placeholder. Now let us find out the angle between the two vectors. How do you find out the angle between the two vectors? Cos theta is A dot B by mod A mod B. Now let us find out the dot product first. So we are going to find out the dot product of these two vectors, A dot B. What is A here? I plus J plus K, 0K, and then 0I plus J plus K. You can write it this way, or you can just mention the coefficients here as well. Now, how do you find out the dot product? I told you finding dot product is very easy. What do? Multiply I with I. So 1 into 0 is 0. Obviously, I into I is 1, so it doesn't matter. Just multiply I with I. 1 into 0 is 0, and then multiply J with J. 1 into 1 is 1, and then multiply K with K. 0 into 1 is 0. So the dot product, we got it as 1 itself. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 0 is 1 itself. Obviously these two doesn't have a value, so you only are left with 1. So the dot product here is 1. Now let us find out mod A. Modulus of A. How do you find out modulus of A? Square of this one plus square of this plus square of this. 1 square is 1, 1 square is 1, 0 square is 0 itself, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 0 is 2 itself, obviously root 2. And then modulus of B. What is going to be modulus of B? Square of this, and then square of this, and then square of this. So you are left with 0 plus 1 plus 1, which is nothing but root 2 again. Now let us find out cos theta here. Cos theta is going to be A dot B by mod A into mod B. Cos theta is A dot B, the dot product of two vectors. We got it as 1, so let us substitute 1. Mod A, the magnitude of vector A, we got it as root 2, and then mod B, the magnitude of vector B, we got it as root 2 once again. So we got this as root 2 into root 2, you know that it is 2. So cos theta, we got it as 1 by 2. Now he is asking us to find sine theta. To find out what sine theta is, let us first understand what theta is. Cos theta, I got it as 1 by 2. You know that the value of cos is 1 by 2 when theta is 60 degrees, isn't it? when theta is 60 degrees, because cos 60 degree is 1 by 2. Now I am supposed to find out how much is sine theta. In place of theta, let us substitute 60 degree here. Sine 60 degree is root 3 by 2. So the value of sine theta here is going to be root 3 by 2. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we have this question from intermediate first year Telangana State March 2019 question paper. Now, we have three vectors given to us, vector A, vector B and vector C. We are supposed to find out the unit vector in the opposite direction of A plus B. Unit vector in the direction of unit vector in the opposite direction of A plus B plus C. Unit vector in the direction of A plus B plus C is going to be A plus B plus C by modulus of A plus B plus C. But here they are asking us to find out the unit vector in the opposite direction of A plus B plus C. For opposite direction, you just need to write a negative sign here. The negative sign is for the opposite direction. So the unit vector in the direction of A plus B plus C is A plus B plus C by modulus of A plus B plus C. For opposite direction, you have to just keep a minus sign here. So what am I ideally going to do? I'm going to find out the sum of these three vectors, vector A, vector B and vector C, and then we will find out the magnitude of A plus B plus C, the modulus of A plus B plus C, or just the mod of A plus B plus C. You can call it as the magnitude of A plus B plus C or modulus, M-O-D-U-L-U-S, modulus, or just mod of A plus B plus C. I pretty much have the habit of reading it as mod of A plus B plus C. Now, let's find out the sum of the vectors A, B and C. So let us first find out what is A plus B plus C. Vector A is 2i plus 4j minus 5k. Vector B is I plus j plus k, and then keep a plus sign, this plus sign, keep it here, and then in place of C, substitute j plus 2k. Now, how are you going to add them? Add all the i's together. 2i plus I is 3i. Do I see any other I? I don't. 2i plus I is 3i. Add all the j's. 4j plus j is 5j, 5j plus j is 6j. Now add all the k's. Okay, 2k plus 1k, that gives us 3k. 3k minus 5k, minus 5 plus 3, that gives us minus 2. So I end up getting minus 2k. So A plus B plus C is 3i plus 6j, plus into minus is minus, minus 2k. Now we found out what is A plus B plus C. Now let us find out what is modulus of A plus B plus C. How do you find out modulus of A plus B plus C? Square root of square of this plus square of this plus square of this. That's how you find out the modulus, right? How do you find out modulus of A plus B plus C? Square root of this square plus this square plus this square. So modulus of A plus B plus C is going to be 3 square is 9, 6 square is 36, 2 square is 4, 36 plus 4 is 40, 40 plus 9 is 49, square root of 49 is 7. So unit vector in the opposite direction of A plus B plus C is going to be minus of A plus B plus C by modulus of A plus B plus C, which is A plus B plus C. The sum is, okay, this thing. So let me substitute it here. 3i plus 6j minus 2k. This is minus 2k here. Okay, so that is A plus B plus C. Okay, and then by modulus of A plus B plus C is 7. That's about it. You can keep it this way, or you can multiply with the minus sign and then open the bracket. Okay, now we have a question in which we have three vectors given to us, vector A, vector B and vector C. We are supposed to find out A cross B cross C and verify that A cross B cross C is perpendicular to A. Let's first find out A cross B cross C. A cross B cross C. Now, this thing is also known as the cross product, or You also called it as the vector product, because obviously the product that you get is going to be a vector, which means it's going to have, it will be in the format xi plus yj plus zk. So the product of this is going to be a vector, and that's the reason we also call cross product as a vector product. Let us first find out what's given to us in the parentheses here. So let's first find out B cross C. How do you find out B cross C? Pretty easy. You just have to keep just a kind of a determinant sign here, and then first let us write I, j, k in the first row. So B cross C, how do you find out the cross product? You just keep a determinant sign here, and then in the first row write I, j, k. In the second row you are going to write the coefficients of vector B. The coefficients of vector B are 1, 1 and minus 1. So let's write that 1, 1 and minus 1. And then the coefficients of vector C, okay. So 1, minus 1 and then 1. Okay, so 1, minus 1 and then 1. That's about it. So what did we do here? We wrote the coefficients of vector B, which are 1, 1 and minus 1. We wrote it here. And then we wrote the coefficients of vector C, which are 1, minus 1 and 1. 1, minus 1 and then 1. Just in the case of how you expand the determinant using the first row, let us expand this determinant using the first row. So what is it going to be? When I target I here, so when I choose a row and a column so that the lines intersect at I am left with these 4 numbers. So let me write those numbers. So when I choose I here, I am left with these 4 numbers, 1, minus 1, minus 1, 1. And then let me now target J here. When I choose a row and a column such that the lines intersect at J, I am left with these 4 numbers here, 1, minus 1, 1, 1. 1, minus 1, 1, 1. And then when I target the third one, K, I'm left with these 4 numbers here, 1, 1, 1, minus 1. You obviously know the drill if you know how to find out the determinant of a matrix. Now, what do we do here? We just multiply this 1 into 1, keep a minus sign, and then multiply these 2 numbers. So I'm going to do it just a bit direct in probably a direct way here. 1 into 1 is 1, keep a minus sign, and then you multiply these 2. Minus into minus is plus, 1 into 1 is 1. Now 1 into 1 is 1, keep a minus sign, and then you multiply these 2 things. 1 into minus 1 is minus 1, but then since we already have a minus here, this is going to be a plus, because minus into minus, that would eventually give us plus. 1 into minus 1 is minus 1, keep a minus sign, and then multiply these 2. 1 into 1 is 1. So B cross C is going to be 1 minus 1, that gives us 0, 1 plus 1, that gives us 2, minus 1 minus 1, that gives us minus 2. So B cross C is going to be 0i, you can write this as 0i, this is 2j, and then plus into minus, minus 2 into k, 2k. So that is B cross C. Now that we have found out B cross C, let us find out A cross B cross C. How do you find out A cross B cross C? How do you find out A cross B cross C? The same drill. Let's keep a determinant sign here, and then in the first row, as always, let us write I, J, K. And now what am I going to do? In the second row, let's write the coefficients of vector A. The coefficients of vector A are 2, 3, and 4. So let's write them. 2, 3, and 4. And then let us write the coefficients of B cross C. The coefficients of B cross C are 0, minus 2, and minus 2. So let's write them here. 0, minus 2, minus 2. And let's expand it using the first row. That's about it. So A cross B cross C is going to be, if I choose I here, I am left with, let's choose I here. So if I choose a row and a column so that the lines meet at I am left with these 4 numbers, 3, 4, minus 2, minus 2. 3, 4, minus 2, minus 2. And then if I choose a row and a column such that they intersect at J, to target J here, I'm left with 2, 4, 0, minus 2, 2, 4, 0, minus 2. And then let me target K here. If I target K here, you get 2, 3, 0, minus 2, 2, 3, 0, minus 2. Now, people who have already watched the videos that I made for matrices chapter, you will understand how to find out the determinant of a 3 by 3 matrix. It's pretty easy. You just take alternate plus minus signs here. So this is plus, this is minus, and this is plus. Now, A cross B cross C is going to be, this is what we do. We multiply these two numbers, keep a minus sign, and then we multiply these two numbers. So what would happen here? 3 into minus 2, that gives us minus 6. Keep a minus sign, and then when you multiply these two numbers, minus 2 into 4, that gives you minus 8. Since you already have a minus here, so it becomes plus 8 here. Now, 2 into minus 2, that gives you minus 4. Keep a minus sign, and then multiply these two numbers. 0 into 4 is 0. Now here, 2 into minus 2 is minus 4. Keep a minus sign and then multiply these two. 0 into 3 is 0. So A cross B cross C is going to be 8 minus 6. That gives us 2. The 0 doesn't have a value, so I'm going to subtract it. Obviously, because you are subtracting 0, which means you are subtracting nothing. So minus 4 would remain as it is. And then same here, you are subtracting 0, which means you are subtracting nothing here. So obviously minus 4 remains as it is. So A cross B cross C is going to be 2I. Minus into minus is plus, 4 into J, 4J, plus into minus is minus, 4 into K, 4K. So this is what we end up getting as, this is what we get for A cross B cross C. Okay, so first things first, we found out what A cross B cross C is, because they asked us to compute A cross B cross C, and we found out what is A cross B cross C. Now, we are supposed to verify that A cross B cross C is perpendicular to A. If A cross B cross C, if this A cross B cross C is perpendicular to A, then obviously the dot product of this with the vector A should be equal to 0. Let's see if that happens here. A cross B cross C, okay, it is 2I plus 4J minus 4K, so I'm writing as it is, dot product with vector A. Vector A is 2I plus 3J plus 4K, and I told you finding the dot product is pretty easy. You multiply I with I, J with J, and then K with K. So 2 into 2, that gives you 4, 4 into 3, that gives you 12, plus into minus, that is minus, 4 into 4 is 16, 12 plus 4 is 16, this minus 16 I'm writing as it is, 16 minus 16 is 0. Since the dot product of A cross B cross C and the vector A is 0, you can say that A cross B cross C is perpendicular to the vector A. Remember, if I have two vectors A and B perpendicular to each other, A dot B would be equal to 0. Why? Okay, if you want to know the reason why, then let me teach you the reason as well. You know that to find out the angle between two vectors, we use this formula, right? Cos theta is A dot B by mod A mod B. I hope you remember this. Now let us say if these two vectors, vector A and vector B, are perpendicular to each other, then obviously the angle between them should be equal to 90 degrees. So in place of theta, if we write 90 degrees here, what are we going to get? Cos 90, you know that it is 0. Cos 90 is 0. So 0, when this thing multiplies 0, obviously this becomes 0. So you are left with A dot B is equal to 0. So remember, when two vectors A and B are perpendicular to each other, the dot product of those two vectors would be 0. Now this question was asked in intermediate first year Telangana State May 2018 question paper. In this question we have three vectors given to us, vector A, vector B and vector C. We are supposed to find out A cross B cross C, and then we are also supposed to find out modulus of A cross B cross C. So what are we going to do here? First things first, we are going to find out B cross C, and then we'll do a cross product of A and B cross C. I hope you will be able to do this. You can take it as your homework because we already did a question of a similar question here. We computed A cross B cross C when 3 vectors were given to us. So this is just the same thing that you need to do. I hope you can try this by yourself, and then you can write down your answer in comments. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to get back to me. Okay? If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. For this, to find out this, I would suggest you to first find out A cross B and then find a cross product of A cross B and C. After you find out A cross B cross C, then you find out the modulus. I already taught you how to find out the modulus of a vector, right? Or the magnitude of a vector. Now, you see, we were able to solve a lot of questions just by understanding how to add 2 vectors and how to find out the product of vectors, how to find the magnitude of a vector, right? And in the next video, we are going to solve a lot more important questions which are important as per examination point of view. We are going to cover those questions from addition of vectors and product of vectors. I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, goodbye.